Hey everybody, John Foss. I'm very excited to be talking with Andrea Savage. We are talking about the new film, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. And this is definitely a throwback, some nostalgia going on here. Tell us about this movie and how did you get involved?
I mean, it doesn't get much more throwback than this. It's, Beavis and Butthead are back. They've been gone for, more than 10 years. And now they're back in multi-decades, multi-universes. And I got, this was an old school. I literally just read for the role. And then Mike Judge was like, let's do it.
And is Beavis and Butthead something that you grew up on? Because I mean, for me, I graduated high school in '98, so Beavis and Butthead was like the biggest thing at that time. Did you grow up on this show, or did you follow it back in the day?
100%. I am of the Beavis and Butthead generation, and I will say, when I went in and started recording and started seeing some of the animation, it was so nostalgic. I was like, "Oh my God, there they are again." Just their laugh is,
that is one of the best things. That's one of the best things about the film.
Iconic.
I mean, it looks exactly like the show back in the day, and it's on Paramount Plus. It's available right now, and actually, all of the original content is available as well. Is that right, on Paramount Plus?
Yes, I believe 200 episodes are all fully remastered and available on Paramount Plus. All the old ones.
And tell us about the storyline a little bit in this film.
Basically, I play Commander Serena Ryan, who's captain of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, and she thinks that Beavis and Butthead, due to some of their, I would say, ability to self-congratulate themselves, is that how one would say masturbate, might be really good at docking to the Mirror Station, and they go up to space and disaster ensues, and then they fall through a time and space continuum to 2022, where I'm now the governor of Texas.
When you watched the film, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part, they're looking to score with my character over decades. I think it might have been Beavis's fantasy of me being his actual girlfriend. Really made me laugh.
And I do love the conversation with Siri throughout the film as well, because that's, definitely something we can all relate to.
Definitely something we can all relate to. I mean, them coming to 2022 and then not knowing what, white privilege is, or Siri, or any of those things, is, I think, one of the funny, real funny parts of the movie.
One thing that's interesting to me is the fact that Mike Judge does the voices for both Beavis and Butthead. Did you see him at work, or how does that work? How does he have these conversations with himself?
I don't see him while I work with him on my part, but I don't see him doing his lines. We just do my stuff kind of line by line. So I never got to see Mike as Beavis or Butthead, which was just Mike being Mike.
Was there an episode or any Beavis and Butthead moment that sticks out to you growing up that like a favorite episode or a favorite scene or anything like that?
Oh God, probably not. I feel like in my head, they're all just blend together as a time in my life.
And there's going to be a new series as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe this is going to lead it straight into a new series for Paramount Plus.
Will your character be in that series as well?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I mean, you've been in some iconic shows throughout the years and films. Where does this rank? I mean, as far as bucket list, or oh my gosh, I can't believe that I was a part of something like this, growing up and now being in this show. Where does this rank?
I feel like it ranks pretty high. I mean, I did a podcast that had the word butthole in its title a couple years ago. So I feel like this was a match made in heaven.
What about you've been in, Step Brothers, for example, that movie, when it came out, it was always a great movie, but it's picked up steam over the years. What's it like to have been in that film, and what does that film mean to you?
I mean, Step Brothers is one of those films that we never saw coming that was going to become, cult classic and just keep gaining steam. I mean, that's one of my favorite projects I've ever done. Will Ferrell, I mean, we've worked together many times since then, but he's just fantastic. The whole cast is fantastic. And I love that Step Brothers is having this life past itself.
Have they ever talked about a sequel for that film?
I think there was talk about it at some point, but I think that has been put to bed. So I don't think we will see that again. But it is funny because people will quote the movie to me more than anything else I've ever done. And often I don't know what they're referring to. And that leads to very odd exchanges with people.
Because you're just like, hey, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, what? And they're like, Step Brothers. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't. What? And they'll say like, I traveled 10,000 miles to plant my seed or whatever he says, and to give you my seed. And I'm like, what? Sorry, what did you say?
How many times have you seen it?
I have only seen it once.
Oh wow!
I know.
That's crazy.
I saw it at the premiere.
Very cool. All right. Well, okay. So another iconic show. This is actually probably my favorite show, and it's totally different than most shows because it's unscripted in a lot of ways. I believe you can tell me behind the scenes, but Curb Your Enthusiasm. What was it like being on that show? And how was that behind the scenes? Was it just like you get kind of an idea of the script and then you guys just make it up as you go, or what's that like?
It really is. You are given very little. You're given kind of the a little bit of plot points in the scene, and then you just get to go. That was dream come true. I am a huge Curb fan, a huge Larry David fan. My show, I'm Sorry, definitely took inspiration from that kind of show. Although mine was more scripted, but it was fantastic. That was like dream come true.
How do you know if you've done a good job? Do you just do the scene a few times and then they're like, all right, I think we got it, let's move on?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, when you're working with them, and especially like the scenes with Larry, you can just feel when it worked, and he'll let you know, and he's awesome, and you just kind of can tell when you got into a groove, and it felt real and also funny at the same time.
And I've heard that he actually says for that show to not try to be funny. So do you ever feel like, was that good enough? That didn't feel funny, but then, like when it comes out, it's funny. But do you have that feeling going through it because you try to play it straight and it's just doesn't feel funny at the time, or do you know? Like,
you know what?
Great?
I feel like that's, Step Brothers was a lot of improv too, and lots of other projects I've done. So I feel like I've gotten used to that, living in that sort of weird space of knowing when you're playing it straight, when it still is funny. So you kind of get a sense even when you're playing it straight.
Sure. So with Beavis and Butthead do the universe, was this straight script, everything scripted? I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, there was a little bit of improv here and there, but it was mostly scripted. Yeah.
And when you get in there, are you reading? Do you have somebody to read with, or how do you interact with people so that it feels
you go
real?
Literally just line by line, and you kind of just once in a while, I guess if there was a scene going back and forth, maybe God, I can't even remember. I'm like, was Mike reading with me, or maybe Mike read with me, Mike Judge, when we were doing like little scenes? But no, you're not working like, it's not like doing a regular scene when you're doing animation like that.
Interesting. Is that tough to do?
Yeah, it can be tricky. But again, after doing a couple different animated things, you kind of just get used to that's the way you do it. But that one is hard to know because you're not seeing the animation yet, because they draw it after. So that one is hard to know, is this working? Is this, that kind of thing. So it was exciting to finally see it and be like, oh my God, that did work. And, because I play it pretty straight in Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe as well.
Definitely. And I will say I've seen the film. You played it perfectly. Thank you so much for talking with us today. Everybody got to check it out. Twin Cities, this great film, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. It's available right now on Paramount Plus, and also all of the original episodes as well, and the previous film. So check it out, Paramount Plus. Thank you so much, Andrea. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.